What's going on, guys? So, full disclosure, I am actually making this video as kind of a follow-up to a good friend of mine named Josh the RV Nerd, who has a phenomenal channel, and he talked about this, and I got flooded with emails and suggestions for me to make a similar video on my channel in the BTBRV format. So we're going to tackle a topic about wheelbase. We're going to specifically talk about why a longer wheelbase truck is really the preferred method and can be a game changer when towing travel trailers. Hang tight, I'll be right back. All right, so welcome to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving into something a lot of folks overlook when they're shopping for a tow rig, and that's wheelbase length. If you're pulling a bumper pull trailer or what's considered a conventional trailer, basically it hooks to the back hitch area, the receiver of your vehicle, and not over the bed like a gooseneck or fifth wheel like you see over there, then you really should consider the longest possible wheelbase pickup truck, because it can make all the difference in the world in terms of stability, comfort, and safety while towing. We should also talk about some of the fifth wheel gooseneck comparisons, because there's going to be a lot of people that kind of wonder if the same logic holds true when you're hauling a gooseneck or fifth wheel trailer. We'll also talk about the technical and engineering aspects of this, because I think that's critically important to understand as well. So first, let's talk about the difference between a conventionally pulled travel trailer, like something over here that has your conventional hitch that's going to connect to the back receiver hitch on a pickup truck, versus a fifth wheel like this, or even a gooseneck, which is going to go over the back axles of a vehicle. So here's the key thing to remember. A fifth wheel or gooseneck connect directly over your rear axle. Basically, it's right in the middle of your truck bed. That means that the trailer's pivot point is right at the truck's center line. So it's a lot harder for the trailer to leverage sway in a truck that's hauling a fifth wheel or gooseneck versus something like a travel trailer, which is connected in the back. A bumper pull travel trailer that hitches way in the back of the truck is usually 2 to 3 feet behind the rear axle. That extra distance is going to act like a lever. If the trailer starts to sway, it's got more leverage to push and pull the back of your truck sideways, and that's where wheelbase length comes into play. Now, when we talk about the engineering aspect of this, we really need to focus on the physics of it. So wheelbase is simply the distance between the front and rear axles of your vehicles. The longer the distance, the harder it is for the trailer's side forces to rotate the truck around the front axle. Basically saying, shorter wheelbase, easier for the trailer to push the truck into sway. Longer wheelbase makes it more resistant to that. Why? Because the trailer's hitch point is already behind the rear axle. The longer the wheelbase, the further away your truck's pivot point or front axle is from the hitch point. Because again, your pivot point that induces sway is your front axle. That increases your yaw moment of inertia, which is a fancy way of basically saying that the truck resists rotational changes more effectively. This resistance makes the whole rig feel more planted on the highway, especially in crosswinds or if a semi-truck blasts by you going 75 miles per hour. Now, the trailer length is a huge factor as well. The longer the trailer, the longer its sway arm. If you got a 35-foot bumper pull trailer behind a short wheelbase half-ton, the trailer has a huge mechanical advantage if sway starts. But pair that to the same trailer on a crew cab long bed truck, well, now you've got a lot more stability built in. The truck's extra length is going to act like a damper. Anti-sway input from the trailer has to move more mass over a longer distance before it can affect your steering. Now, if we compare that to fifth wheel stability, a fifth wheel doesn't care much about your truck's wheelbase. The hitch is over the axle, so there's almost zero lever arm behind it. That's why you see folks towing 40-foot fifth wheels with trucks that would be scary with a 35-foot bumper pull. But, and this is important, for bumper pulls, wheelbase is king. The longer, the better. Now let's talk about a real-world example. If we were going to compare two trucks, Truck A is a crew cab short bed truck with a 143-inch wheelbase. Truck B is a crew cab long bed with a 160-inch wheelbase. That's about a 1.5 foot difference, and that extra 17 inches adds a huge amount of stability. It's not just about feeling better, the physics actually back it up as well. So the takeaway here, the bottom line is, if you're towing a bumper pull trailer, especially something over 28 feet, a longer wheelbase truck is going to give you a noticeably better highway experience. Less sway, and it's definitely going to be more noticeable in an emergency maneuver, like if you have to go around something. Fifth wheels are naturally going to be more stable, but for conventional hitches, don't underestimate how much that extra wheelbase can save you from white knuckle driving. I hope it was a good kind of follow-up to the video that Josh the RV Nerd made. Absolutely phenomenal video. He definitely hit on all the right points, and he talked specifically about the recommended guidelines and charts when it comes to the length of an RV versus the wheelbase of a truck. And I think this is all really, really good information to understand, because there are a lot of folks, even with 3/4 ton trucks, that are short bed or in relatively short cab, and they get a really long 38-foot travel trailer, and they wonder why they still experience sway. Sway control hitches can absolutely be a game changer, but they can only do so much, because in most cases they're simply relying on extra friction in this area to prevent that pivoting effect from taking place between the RV, the back of the truck, and ultimately the front steer axle of your tow vehicle or your truck, which again becomes a pivot point as well, and that's why the truck starts to do this number also. So if you're shopping for a truck and you're shopping for an RV, and you know that the travel trailer you're looking at is going to be pretty long, like again over 28 feet long, you should absolutely consider getting the longest wheelbase version of a pickup truck, just so your trailer inherently acts as less of a lever on your actual tow vehicle. And that's probably the best advice I can give you whenever people are, again, wondering what's the best pickup truck to tow a travel trailer. Not as big of a deal when you're talking about fifth wheel and gooseneck, because again, you're positioning all that weight over the center point of your axle, and because you have traction on the ground and you're trying to essentially shift the axle side to side, you don't have that lever arm behind it, which is controlling a lot of the towing dynamics of the pickup truck itself. So whenever you're shopping, just keep that in mind. This is really good information. I'm really glad Josh made a video on it, and people ask me to follow up on it, because this is a topic that I can never emphasize enough. Wheelbase is king, wheelbase matters, and it can absolutely be night and day in terms of the towing experience you have when you're hauling a conventional travel trailer. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. If there are other YouTube channels who have touched on a topic that you also want me to touch on, please reach out. Let me know. In this specific instance, a lot of people wanted me to comment on if I thought what Josh was saying was accurate, and it's entirely accurate, 100% accurate. He absolutely hit it on the nose, and I think it's really important information to always overemphasize, because there's a lot of people that think they have the right truck, but ultimately still experience a rough white knuckle towing experience, and they want to know why. And wheelbase can absolutely be one of those things that causes that. Anyways, guys, sure hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.